Let us begin in the quietest, most dangerous room in the world. It is not a war room in the Pentagon. It is not a sterile laboratory. It is the room inside our own skulls at 3:00 a.m. The world outside is asleep. The traffic has died down. The emails have stopped pinging. But inside this room, the lights are blazing and the Committee of Fear has called an emergency meeting. We are lying in our beds, our bodies exhausted, but our minds are running a marathon on a treadmill of terror. We are doing something that feels as natural to us as breathing, yet it is as destructive as drinking poison. We are worrying. We are running the simulations. We are playing the what-if game. What if the market crashes and my 401k disappears? What if that pain in my side is the same cancer that took my father? What if my child isn't making friends? What if my partner is bored of me? What if I am found out to be a fraud? We construct elaborate, terrifying blockbusters in our heads. We write the script, we cast the actors, we direct the scenes, and then we watch this horror movie on repeat, feeling every ounce of the fear as if it were happening right now. The sweat on our palms is real. The knot in our stomach is real. The cortisol flooding our veins is real. But the disaster is entirely hallucinated. We do this because we have been fed a lie. A very specific, very Western lie. We have been taught that worrying is a form of control. We believe that if we worry enough, if we anticipate every possible angle of the catastrophe, if we chew on the problem until our teeth break, we can somehow prevent it from happening. We think worry is the price we pay for safety. We think worry is what responsible adults do. If we stop worrying, we feel guilty, as if we are letting go of the steering wheel of a speeding car. We believe our anxiety is the gravity holding our lives together. But I am here to tell you the truth that the committee in your head is desperate to hide from you. Worrying is not preparation. Worrying is a prayer. When we worry, we are using the immense godlike power of our imagination. The same power that builds bridges, writes symphonies, and cures diseases to create a blueprint for the very thing we are terrified of. We are focusing our laser-like attention on a specific disaster. And in the physics of the soul, in the mechanics of this strange and responsive universe, energy flows where attention goes. By obsessing over the worst-case scenario, we are not preventing it. We are inviting it. We are rehearsing for it. We are sending a clear, strong signal to the universe that says, this is what I am focused on. This is what feels real to me. This is what I am preparing for. Bring me more of this. Worrying is praying for what you don't want. It is placing an order with the cosmic kitchen for a meal that will poison you. It is unintentional black magic. We are casting spells on ourselves, hexing our own potential, cursing our own future, all under the guise of being careful. Let's look at the biology of this dark prayer. We need to talk about the reticular activating system, RAS. This is a bundle of nerves at our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information so the important stuff gets through. The RAS is the reason why if you decide to buy a red Tesla, you suddenly see red Teslas everywhere. They were always there, but now your RAS has flagged them as important. When we worry, we are hacking our own RAS. We are telling our brain danger is important, betrayal is important, sickness is important, failure is important. And the brain, being an obedient servant, says, understood. It goes out into the world and scans for evidence to prove us right. It filters out the kindness, the opportunity, the safety, and it highlights the threat. We will spot the one person who looks at us weirdly and ignore the 10 people who smile. We will spot the one negative comment and ignore the praise. We will see the economic downturn and miss the new market opening up. We are literally creating a reality tunnel based on our fear. We are praying for a hostile world and our biology is delivering it to us on a silver platter. But why are we so addicted to this? Why does it feel so unsafe to stop? Because we have confused worry with love. Think about how we were raised. Think about our mothers, our fathers. They worried about us. Put on a jacket or you'll catch a cold. Call me when you get there so I know you're not dead. We learned that worrying is how you show you care. If you don't worry, it means you are indifferent. It means you are callous. So now we worry about our partners, our kids, our friends, thinking we are loving them. But we are not loving them. We are projecting our fear onto them. We are enveloping them in a cloud of anxiety. We are silently telling them, I don't trust you to handle your life. I don't trust the universe to keep you safe. That is not love. That is control masquerading as love. True love is holding a vision of someone's strength, not their destruction. And we must address the illusion of control. This is the great American neurosis. We believe we are the general managers of the universe. We have insurance for our cars, our houses, our health, our teeth, our pets. We have security systems. We have 5-year plans. We are terrified of the unknown. We are terrified of the void. Worrying gives us a false sense of agency. It feels like doing something. It burns energy so it feels like work. But it is the work of a hamster in a wheel. You are running until your heart explodes, but you haven't moved an inch. You are exhausted, but you are exactly where you started, only now you are too tired to deal with the actual problems of the day. Worrying does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. It is a thief. It steals the present moment, the only place where you actually have any power, and sacrifices it to a future that is just a ghost in your mind. Let's go deeper into the spiritual mechanics. This is where it gets uncomfortable. This is where we have to take responsibility. We are creators. Whether we believe in God, the universe, or just quantum mechanics, the truth remains we impact our reality. The observer effect. In quantum physics tells us that the act of observing a particle changes its behavior. Our attention matters. When we spend 18 hours a day observing disaster in our minds, we are collapsing the wave function of our lives into a reality of stress. We are vibrating at the frequency of lack and fear. And because like attracts like, we repel the things we want. You cannot attract abundance while vibrating with the fear of poverty. You cannot attract love while vibrating with the fear of abandonment. The signals cancel each other out. You are asking for one thing with your words, I want to be rich. But you are asking for the opposite with your energy, I am terrified of being poor. And the universe listens to the energy, not the words. The universe listens to the feeling. And worry is a very, very strong feeling. So how do we stop? How do we break an addiction that is wired into our survival instincts? We cannot just stop worrying. That's like trying to stop a river by standing in it. The water will just knock you over. We have to redirect the river. We have to replace the dark prayer with a light prayer. And I don't mean religious prayer unless that speaks to you. I mean intentional imagination. We have to practice paranoia. Paranoia is the delusional belief that the universe is conspiring to hurt you. Paranoia is the delusional belief that the universe is conspiring to help you. Both are delusions. We don't know what the universe is doing. But one delusion makes you sick and the other makes you strong. One makes you a victim, the other makes you a creator. Why not choose the one that works? What if we played the what-if game in reverse? The brain is a pattern-matching machine. It loves what if. So feed it new questions. Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams? What would that feel like? Instead of, what if they leave me? Ask, what if this relationship gets deeper, funnier, and sexier every year? Instead of, what if I get sick? Ask, what if my body is a miraculous self-healing machine? At first, your brain will resist. It will say, don't be naive. Don't get your hopes up. It's safer to be pessimistic. But ask yourself, has pessimism ever actually saved you, or has it just made you suffer twice, once in your imagination and once in reality? To expect the best is a radical act of rebellion. It takes courage. It takes guts. Worrying is for cowards. Trust is for the brave. We need to treat our minds like a garden. Right now, many of us are lazy gardeners. We let any thought blow in over the fence and take root. We let the weeds of fear grow until they choke out the sun. We water the poison ivy every morning with our attention. We have to become vigilant. We have to stand at the gate of our mind with a sword. When a worry thought arrives, and it will, we must greet it. We don't have to fight it. We just have to identify it. Ah, I see you. You are the thought about bankruptcy. I know you are trying to protect me. Thank you, but I am not planting you today. And then deliberately physically shift your attention to a flower. Shift your attention to what you do want. Visualize the money in the bank. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is neural reprogramming. This is digging new canals for the water to flow. We also need to address the information diet. We cannot stop worrying if we are injecting liquid anxiety into our veins every day. The news, Twitter, the doom scroll. The media is a machine designed to generate worry. They sell your fear to advertisers. If you are calm, you are not clicking. If you are trusting, you are not watching. They need you terrified. They need you to believe that the world is burning, that your neighbors are enemies, that the sky is falling. You have to unplug. You have to opt out of the matrix of fear. You are not being uninformed. You are being sane. You are protecting your vibration. You are refusing to let the world's chaos colonize your inner peace. There is a Taoist story that is the ultimate antidote to worry. The story of the farmer. His horse runs away. The neighbors say, "Such bad luck." The farmer says, "Maybe." The next day, the horse comes back with 3 wild horses. The neighbors say, "Such good luck." The farmer says, "Maybe." The next day, his son tries to ride a wild horse, falls and breaks his leg. The neighbors say, "Such bad luck." The farmer says, "Maybe." The next day, the army comes to the village to draft young men for a bloody war, but they pass over the son because of his broken leg. The neighbors say, "Such good luck." The farmer says, "Maybe." The farmer knows the secret. We do not know the end of the story. We are judging the entire movie based on one scene. The thing you are worrying about, the job loss, the breakup, the failure, might be the very thing that saves you. It might be the bridge to a life you couldn't even imagine. The universe writes better scripts than we do, but we have to trust the plot twists. We have to trust that when one door closes, it's because we were too big for that room anyway. Worry assumes we know what is bad and what is good. We don't. We are finite beings trying to understand an infinite game. Surrender the need to label. Surrender the need to know. Relax into the mystery, so tonight when the 3 a.m. committee meets, dissolve the meeting. When the what-ifs start to attack, raise your shield. The shield is the present moment. Worry can only live in the future. It needs tomorrow to survive. It cannot exist in now. If you bring your attention fully to right now, to the sensation of the sheets against your skin, the sound of your own breath, the beating of your heart, the worry vanishes. Ask yourself, right now in this second, is there a tiger? No. Right now in this second, am I okay? Yes. Right now in this second, am I breathing? Yes, then you are safe. The future is a hallucination. The past is a memory. The now is the only reality. The now is the point of creation. Use this point of creation to pray for what you want. Visualize health. Visualize laughter. Visualize freedom. Not because it guarantees it will happen. Nothing is guaranteed, but because it makes the journey worth taking. It makes today beautiful, and today is all we have. Let us stop using our minds as instruments of torture. Let us start using them as instruments of creation. Let us stop praying for nightmares. Let us dream of a dawn that is brighter than we can imagine, because the universe is listening. It is always listening, and it is waiting to say, "Your wish is my command." Breathe, trust, let go. You are safe. You